So I had a video scripted and lined up for today. It was supposed to be educational and not at all opinionated, and if you were in my head recently, you'd know that I have been struggling with making videos in the past little while. It is no secret that I feel burned out this season. I've mentioned it in videos, I've talked about it on stream, but when it comes to my content on YouTube, as much as this channel is about me sharing what I find interesting, albeit not always all that important, I got sick and tired of being succumbed by negativity. And that's saying a lot, because at its core, this channel holds a lot of content that essentially questions things, challenges opinions, and quite frankly, complains about a whole lot of shit. Even if it is just in order to present a new perspective and get people thinking a bit. But then last night on my day off, I saw a video in my recommended tab made by Nate. No, not this one, that one. And that video is titled Season 5 is the worst season of Overwatch. So I sat down and watched that video, and to be honest, it is an interesting perspective. I recommend you do give it a watch yourself if you haven't already, so I'll be linking it down in the description below, but today I'll let you guys know my own take on this whole issue. Actually, this is something I had wanted to do for a while. We even had a big discussion on Discord about it and came to some interesting conclusions, which I will be incorporating in today's video. But let me preface this by saying I do not think that dive is the core of the problem. Yes, I am annoyed of this meta myself, but I don't think that the dive meta alone is what causes all of this negativity surrounding Season 5. Nate has proposed that a good portion of players feels like they can get away with being toxic or doing things that are universally considered counterproductive in a competitive environment. Likely because they have suffered through matches with such teammates themselves and they have never seen any consequences on their side, so why not do it yourself, right? But I like to believe that players don't just do something stupid because they think they can get away with it, at least not in Overwatch. In other games that could make more sense, but the unified goal of the Overwatch community on Ranked is usually ranking up, so doing what they do now just seems counterproductive to that goal. Obviously, we can talk about how misinformation about how SR distribution and MMR calculations are being handled could lead to players believing that doing dumb shit like that is legitimately helping them rank up in the long run, but I feel like we dispelled those theories quite early. I think the biggest factor, the one thing that all of this starts with, is time. We are now into the 5th competitive season of Overwatch, a good year after launch, and quite frankly, the game hasn't changed a good bit. Sure, there was always something to be outraged about every single season, whether that be the Beyblade meta, the tank meta, or now the dive meta. But in the grand scheme of things, the game is still the same with little tweaks and additions here and there. You know what happens over time? Players get more experienced, and sometimes they get overconfident in their experience. It's obviously great to hear success stories like a player starting off in Platinum who then worked themselves up into Grandmaster over the seasons. But a lot of players do feel stuck in their rank, and in most cases that's due to misjudgment, thinking they know everything already and by that not being open to improvement. If a player feels like they're stuck in their rating for multiple seasons already and they feel like nothing they do matters anyway, they can easily get bored. They start doing things that they deem more fun, more challenging. Sometimes that includes messing with other players and being toxic on purpose, or one-tricking an off-meta hero. But even if it's not with malicious intent, some players might just want to shake things up because they played the same damn heroes over multiple seasons. And I think this could potentially explain why we see such a massive increase in players dabbling with heroes they never touch, trying to find a new main or just trying to challenge themselves. I mean, I even heard a top 500 player say that they don't feel like there's any point in getting top 500 every season unless they do it in a way that makes it particularly difficult, like one-tricking something that's not considered viable. So we got what I feel is a solid hint as to what's going on with the players in lower elo, and coming from my own experience on both of my accounts ranging from 3.6k to 4.1k, having the pleasure of even playing with the top of the line of the players that this game has to offer, it is also happening in the top 1%. But in this case in particular, I think there's more to it. I don't want to believe that my experience on ladder this season has been an anomaly. Bad luck, essentially. Where I just constantly run to people trolling, throwing, being toxic, or painfully underperforming as though they simply don't deserve their rating. I don't want to be the guy that claims, oh, GM is a joke because anyone gets it these days anyway, because I think there's an underlying issue, and that issue is decay. You might wonder how that's a problem. A system in place to encourage players to actively compete in the high end of the ladder. Well, the problem is, again, time. 5 seasons into Overwatch, a lot of players want to play something else just to avoid burnout if nothing else. But the game keeps forcing you to come back again and again even if you don't feel like it. And someone like me can sit here claiming they don't mind decay as much as they want, because reality is that players will go out of their way to force themselves to avoid decaying. And that is an issue, because you run into more and more players who play for that reason. They don't even really care anymore. They just want to get their 7 games a weekend so they can go play something else. And I think that this could explain why I'm running into so many players that painfully underperform in Grandmaster. This, I believe, is why the vast majority of my games have been stomps in either direction. It's because players simply don't want to play anymore, but they're being forced to. And I don't want to get into semantics here about how well they shouldn't play if they don't feel like it, because it doesn't change the reality we face right now. And reality is that players don't want to lose their rating due to inactivity, even if it's only a superficial drop. I mean, the quality of games has been so bad this season that I decided to pull the trigger and make the decision to not play my main account anymore. Obviously, as a support main, I'm tired of dive. If I can't play Lucio, I have no means of even doing anything if my team plays a dive that's worse than the enemy. Essentially, especially for support mains, this season felt like a coin flip in many regards. I flip a coin for whether or not my team can pull off a proper dive. If my Winstons and Divas are on spot, I'm gonna have a great time as Lucio or Zen. But if they suck, there's quite literally nothing I can do to win this season. I just feel like in this meta, supports are simply screwed. You're the main target of dive, so if your team doesn't play well, you might as well just sit and spawn. But it doesn't end there, because I also flip a coin for whether or not I have someone on my team who decides to one-trick something stupid. Another coin for whether or not they're toxic. I might as well flip one more coin that then decides whether my team's trolls are worse than the enemies. And it simply isn't fun anymore. I don't enjoy winning because the enemy team had a retard on their team, just as much as I don't enjoy losing because someone on my team decided to be a very special kind of stupid. And all of this together just kinda makes each other worse. Players who already don't want to play feel forced to do so due to decay. And these kinds of players are that much more likely to get angry over something stupid, like someone deciding to throw. They might bring that anger into their next match and flick the same bullshit on their new teammates, and it just keeps spreading like that. And that then also adds to why people don't want to play. The quality of matches is so poor because people feel forced to play when they don't want to, and people don't want to play because the quality of matches is so terrible this season. Pair this up with players being bored and doing stupid shit as a result because they don't feel like there's any punishment for it anyway, a meta that is quite frankly annoying as all hell, and you got yourself a recipe for one tasty death spiral. At least this is what I believe could be the problem. At the end of the day, it's all just theorizing and opinions over here, but bottom line is that yes, I am adding my voice to the many others that have voiced their dislike for this competitive season of Overwatch, and I stopped having fun a long time ago. And I honestly don't even know if the devs perceive any of this to be a problem, because ultimately this is just my perception of the whole issue. But fact states that this season has been particularly coin flippy. People get into a high elo by sheer luck because they keep opposing teams with throwers. And on the opposite side of that, multi-season top 500 players are struggling with getting out of 3.8k because the quality of matches is just so damn inconsistent. As much as it's all doom and gloom in this video, I'm still trying to make the best out of it. I keep streaming games on my Smurf account, trying to have a good time by any means, and you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Luck of the draw at this point. But this is me done for the day as I talk about the competitive season 5 of Overwatch and why we might be facing as much negativity as we do these days. If you enjoyed the video, then by all means do let me know by pressing the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time. Me getting my ultimate could have saved that.
I can see McCree.
Oh,
Are you serious?
What? Why are you backing off point,
This is
dude?
the 4th time
Come
this
on.
happened.
This is the 2nd time.
Holy shit, dude.